Previously. Hey everybody, this is Anna again. Welcome to the final part of my story. Today, I need to solve a very difficult puzzle. I gotta understand why Dora helped me. And actually, this thing is much more complicated than the Philosopher's Stone. Well, Dora suddenly disappeared. I didn't think about her during the first few days after I got home, because I wasn't up to it. My parents suddenly remembered we were actually of the same blood and the same family, and they were acting suspiciously caring. I was afraid of this attitude, but they seriously called my doctors again. They monitored my nutrition, and my mom even apologized for everything. My mom apologized. Wow. That couldn't be. Pinch me, I must be dreaming. My dad didn't apologize, but he behaved much more warmer than usual. He hired a gloomy psychotherapist for me, and then, when I could go back to school, he went to my previous school and restored all my documents so that I could easily pass my exams. And, well, he hired some tutors for me to follow the school program. Anyway, it was all weird, scary, and unusual for me. Now all my free time was occupied by classes or doctors. I started thinking of Dora when I finally came to my senses. I texted her, I thanked her, then I even tried to call her, but she wouldn't answer. She wasn't at school when I tried there either. By the way, everything changed there too. Even though I was away for just a little more than a month, Ariel was expelled. I was locked up, and the strict hierarchy of power was broken. Mickey and Laura tried to seize the empty throne, but they didn't succeed. Even the junior students mocked them. So when I came back, I was immediately offered the leader position again. I refused. First, I didn't want to be a leader over the traitors. And second, boarding school had discouraged me enough from being bossy by giving me nightmares for the rest of my life. So I thought a little and sent everyone to hell with their leadership offers. Surprisingly, everyone understood me. I suggested they build a democracy now, just for fun. Nobody told me anything about Dora. She disappeared approximately at the same moment I got home, even though she was still registered at our school. I even went to her house, to that very trailer park I used to say millions of nasty things about, but she wasn't there either, and her mom actually slammed the door right in my face. Was it painful? Probably. I've gotten so used to having her around me all the time. Now, I felt like I was helpless without my smart girl in the gray sweater, which was a couple of sizes too big. Well, no hanky-panky. I was really worried about her. Who knows what she did to get me back? The answer came to me in quite an unexpected place. In my own house. Or rather, in my dad's office, just by chance. I went to see him during his business hours, wanting to ask him some stupid question, and I saw her sitting in the secretary's seat. Dora smiled at me with her usual smile, and all the words went out of my head because of excitement. Of course, I couldn't just let her continue her work. Even though my dad wasn't happy with us, he gave us the opportunity to chat heart to heart. It turned out Dora had signed a contract with my dad. All the time while we were texting, she was collecting data about the boarding school, how it treats its students, and at the same time, she collected the information on Ariel and her blackmail methods. As a result, my dad got a fat, beautiful dossier where it was expressly stated I was innocent and I deserved his forgiveness. Dora said she was ready to personally follow me all the time and hold my hand so that I wouldn't do anything stupid now. However, my mom was more impressed with my rare and creepy photos and the story of the boarding school. And my dad? Well, he just couldn't leave such a smart analyst and lawyer in one person. I don't know if he really believed I had nothing to do with it, or if he just decided to get a good assistant. As a result, my parents brought me home and repented, and my dad signed a contract with Dora, according to which Dora became my dad's personal secretary for a few years. At the same time, my dad provided her with the best tutors and the opportunity to pass the final exams. He also prized some of his business connections and arranged a place for her in the best university in the city on any department she would choose. As expected, Dora chose the legal one. That's why she didn't show up at school. She just didn't need it anymore. I asked her why she hadn't answered my messages and calls. She said she was just too tired from her new job. But I didn't believe her. Dora was too active in averting her eyes when she said this. I pushed my dad against the wall. For some reason, it seemed to me it was he who forbade Dora to communicate with me. My dad was surprised and assured me he would have been very glad if his errant daughter talked more with such a sensible girl like Dora. So, it wasn't his fault. Anyway, he thought we were already close friends. She texted all the time when she wasn't so busy. I thought everything terrible had already happened to me. When my parents turned away from me, it was painful. When I fell for a trick with blackmail, it was insulting. The boarding school was too scary, as if it was a nightmare coming to life. But only now I understood what it meant to lose all my senses at once. It was as if I was blind, deaf, and lost in space, and I couldn't find any reason for it. It's not Dora, is it? After we met, she started responding to my messages again. We even went to our studies together when my dad let her go early from her job. And everything seemed to be fine, except she never answered my question why she was helping me. But why was it difficult for me to even breathe in her presence? As a result, instead of enjoying the changes, I suffered. My parents started to treat me much better. Things also improved at my school. Everybody left me alone. The population built a democracy, and everyone learned not to offend the weak students. Even my grades started improving, but it seemed to me that everything in the world was gray and terrible. I passed my exams. The fact I received the certificate with a decent score greatly surprised the principal. Even when I was taking the final test on art history, I kept thinking about Dora. And then I asked myself, why was I thinking about her all the time? And here I am, standing in a gorgeous evening dress at my own graduation. It dawned on me what it was all about. Jealousy. I was jealous of my friend. Yes, after all we'd been through, I could call her my friend. My real friend I'd never had before, and I didn't want her to have anyone but me. Then I woke up and remembered I was at the prom. I graduated from high school. I changed my values, and I realized what mattered for me in life and who I should trust. Well, I passed all the exams. Now I can relax a little and have fun. I danced with the guys, chatted with someone, and watched out of the corner of my eye what was happening in the hall. Just out of habit, yeah. In the corner, Chad was dancing with Laura, and from time to time he looked back at other girls. Laura seemed to be happy. I knew she had liked him for a long time. However, now she kept in mind what he was capable of. In another corner, Mickey tried to play the queen, but the girls around her were just giggling, and clearly testing the imposter queen. Other students were just having fun and saying goodbye to the school. And in the darkest corner, like at the Christmas ball, Dora was hiding, trying to camouflage with the furniture. I smiled and waved at her, and she answered back. The funny thing was, I was chosen the queen of the school after all, almost by unanimous vote. Well, except for Chad and his friends. But I refused the crown, and offered to make a democracy at school a tradition. The audience applauded and even whistled, but the principal awarded me the crown anyway. I gave it to someone later and forgot about it. Because it suddenly occurred to me, this might be the last time I could have a heart-to-heart conversation with Dora. No, of course she's not going anywhere, but the atmosphere of the prom, the nostalgia, I think it's time to conduct a small interrogation towards Dora. I pinned Dora to the wall in that famous toilet. She didn't even struggle much, just looked at me strangely, like asking if I was ready to hear the truth. Honestly, I wasn't sure. What if she said she had a boyfriend and we needed to talk less? But Dora said something I wasn't ready to hear. She said she's been in love with me since elementary school, even when I was a nasty bitch who only thought of herself. I was the best for her, but of course, I didn't care about her then, unless I kicked and mocked her. And then Dora just took the chance. She thought if she was around, I would feel something, or at least it would be a little easier for her. But instead of a place in the queen's retinue, she got the real me. All of me, and realized it only got worse. Dora said a lot more about how she worried about me, how she was afraid for me, and how she was terrified of my parents, how she protected me when I wasn't at school. And then she just kissed me. Honestly, I was stunned. Nothing like this has ever occurred to me. I didn't even think that was such an option at all. But Dora, the smart girl, didn't leave me a choice. She just ran off somewhere and didn't show up at school again until the end of the prom. I also remained at the prom, but with my body only. My thoughts were somewhere very far away. I'd been thinking about what happened for almost a week. I locked myself in my room and stared at the wall. My parents even called the psychotherapist who had worked with me before. It was he who helped me to look at what was left of my inner world. Did Dora's confession frighten me? Yeah, it was scary. Did I feel disgusted or uncomfortable? No, I didn't. So I decided to give it a try. Right now, my life doesn't look like it used to look at school. I try not to think about school at all. I have other things to worry about. I'm at the university now, and for the first time in my life, I'm actually studying, not just farting around in class. And I like what I study. I was able to forgive my ex-friends. We didn't talk again, but I don't hate them either. Let them live as they want. I could forgive Chad, who never became my Prince Charming. He didn't become any of the girls' prince either. After school, he somehow got together with his university teacher. When they found out about it, there was a terrible scandal, but they somehow managed to settle everything down. I saw him by chance. Strange, but he looked happier than at school. My parents and I, well, we didn't become a real family, but now we get along well. They both apologized to me once again and allowed me to live as I wanted. Dora and I visit them on weekends. By the way, we became a couple. And even though it was difficult at first, because we mostly were hiding everything from our parents and friends, it turned out, together we can overcome everything. My parents somehow accepted our relationship. That was very difficult for them. Why am I telling you this? I mean, the most important thing I understood for myself was that nobody owes you anything. There's no right or wrong. Everyone from a nerd to a class leader has the right to live and enjoy their life. And it's up to you to decide what's best for you. This is the only way to get your personal happiness. Thanks for staying with me throughout the whole story. I appreciate your likes and comments below. Subscribe to the channel so that you never miss new stories. And don't forget to click the bell button. See you soon. Best wishes.